Ting-a-ling-a-ling, school bell a ring. It's that time of year when we say goodbye to summer and hello to getting back in the classroom. Lift your head up and expect a successful school year. Hello and welcome to yet another exciting edition of Jamaica Magazine. I am your host, Audrey Williams. We have lots in store for you today, so don't go anywhere. The news is up next.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your GIS News for Friday, September 1, 2023. There has been a 54% reduction in the backlog of solid waste disposal complaints since the government's acquisition of 50 garbage trucks which were deployed across the island last year. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement while addressing a town hall on housing and land. It was held at the Harmony Beach Park in Montego Bay Thursday evening. Mr. Holness says prior to the trucks being acquired, the backlog of complaints between March and November 2022 totaled 1,896.
Since we have the trucks, about 6 months now, or probably more than 6 months, the backlog complaints have gone down to 873. In other words, we have cut those complaints by 1,023 complaints. So more persons are benefiting from a better system.
The Prime Minister says the government intends to further reduce backlogs island-wide. This will be supported by the acquisition of 50 additional compactors. Thursday's town hall was the second in a series being hosted by the government to engage the public on a range of issues impacting their lives. The government will be working to introduce a new water trucking policy for the country within the next couple months. Minister with responsibility for water, Senator Matthew Samuda, made the announcement during a function at the Forestry Department on Tuesday. He says work on the policy will be done through the Integrated Water Management Council. It's intended to ensure that trucking is clearly structured as an addendum to the national water policy.
It's overdue. Trucking hasn't been done efficiently, never has been. And I've seen the impact of inefficient trucking even during my tenure, even though we've worked to correct it. But the policy construct is not there. And then where there is not clear directions, there cannot be clear management decisions.
Even as this is being done, the minister says the country's ambition has to be to remove the need for trucking as government works to implement more permanent solutions for all Jamaicans. Farmers have begun receiving assistance under the Ministry of Agriculture's $200 million drought mitigation program. This was disclosed by Portfolio Minister Floyd Green while speaking on the radio program Good Morning Minister, aired on Wednesday. $104 million was allocated for trucking water to farmers, with $48 million earmarked to purchase 3 trucks. $10 million is budgeted to provide irrigation drip kits to some farmers, and other sums are programmed for the provision of mulch, seeds, planting material, fertilizer, and other inputs. Minister Green says 1 truck has already arrived and should be commissioned into service shortly. Additionally, the ministry is working with farmers to identify areas to harvest rainwater in ponds. The minister says this is especially important for yam planting areas that do not have access to water. The drought has also been affecting vegetable planting and, by extension, market prices. But the minister says recent rainfall and the drought mitigation efforts are helping to relieve that, and consumers can expect to see some dissipation of increased prices soon. All air travel passengers entering Jamaica are now required to complete the C5 immigration form online, effective today, September 1. Chief Executive Officer of the Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency, Andrew Winter, says the digital form will make it easier to process passengers at the airports.
When they submit it, whether they are being processed by an officer or at a kiosk, the passenger declaration form will be there. So it will just be confirming them, and that will certainly speed up the process in terms of they being admitted to the country.
Mr. Winter was speaking at a JIS think tank on Wednesday. He says the online form will require the same information as the previous paper-based version. Passengers are also being assured that all personal information shared will be secured.
Well, their information is protected. One of the things, the agency has a very robust cybersecurity program, and we also ensure that the information, what is received by us, is encrypted, so that we are able to secure the identity, because that was something that we thought of from the inception.
Persons can visit enterjamaica.com to access the C5 immigration form. The newly formed Public Passenger Vehicles PPV Steering Committee is to put together a proposal to fine-tune fare adjustments for the transport sector. Transport Minister Darrell Vaz made the disclosure during Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House. He revealed that the first steering committee meeting was held 2 weeks ago and another on Tuesday of this week.
The report was that the group put together a proposal to fine-tune fare adjustments that will set the stage for recommendations to come through the process, as I know that that is a pressing matter, that along with other issues.
The minister adds that instead of fare increases being done in an ad hoc manner, he has asked that a timeline for reviews be done.
The burning issue of a fare increase is going to be finally dealt with in terms of how it is handled, which means coming up with the formula that will dictate what is the reason for the need for a fare increase.
The PPV Steering Committee was established on the recommendation of Minister Vaz following a Transport Authority conference held earlier this year. It is chaired by Ralston Smith, Managing Director of the Transport Authority. And finally, 25 neonatal intensive care staff employed to the Southeast Regional Health Authority, SERA, have received advanced training to boost the management of respiratory illness in newborns and infants requiring advanced care. The training included advanced theoretical and hands-on neonatal respiratory ventilation therapies. It was conducted by a team of professionals, including senior respiratory therapists and biomedical engineering staff from Medical Link and Medtronic. This advanced training supports the recent acquisition of 5 PB980 ventilators for the Victoria Jubilee Hospital, which were procured by the Southeast Regional Health Authority. SERA's Regional Director Errol Green says the training will help the staff assigned to the high dependency units at Victoria Jubilee, the Bustamante Hospital for Children, and Spanish Town Hospital appropriately diagnose and manage both common and rare neonatal respiratory conditions. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Climate-smart agriculture works to make farming systems more resistant to the effects of global warming. In our next feature, we'll look at some methods of increasing farming efficiency and productivity while minimizing environmental impact.
Choosing the freshest produce at the market is something that we all do as Jamaicans, especially when we want to whip up a mouth-watering pot of food. Incorporating climate-smart agricultural practices is one way to ensure that there is no disruption in our food quality, availability, and accessibility. But what exactly is climate-smart agriculture? It is simply farming practices designed to improve the resilience and the productivity of land affected by climate change. After a trip to get the freshest vegetables, I set aside time on another day to witness examples of Jamaicans employing climate-smart agricultural practices that should boost farm productivity and efficiency while lowering environmental impact. Here's what I've learned. 22-year-old Javian Bassier, who finished third in a competition for agricultural smart technology, has developed smart irrigation technology that he uses on his own farm in Clarendon.
I've made an irrigation system that is fully automated, and it can stay at home on your Android phone and operate it. So it chips in the water because you have sensor in the field, so it will chip in and chip out water when it when it's needed. A system like this will get 15% more yield, less in labor costs. A system like this now is a very good system to have because it's labor conscious, so you don't spend as much money for labor, and then your plant get adequate water when needed and when not needed to turn off.
At the College of Agriculture, Science and Education case, they are pairing aquaculture and hydroponics to get double the bang for the buck.
We are demonstrating the aquaponics system. Aquaponics itself is an integration of hydroponics and aquaculture. Now, just to tell you how it works. Now, the fish will get food. When the fish get the food, they produce waste. This waste is usually rich in nitrogen, and therefore this is going to be converted by bacteria, and the plants will use this as food. So what we do is that we're getting two sources of food while we're only offering food to one.
Agriculture uses about 70% of the world's supply of fresh water, and aquaponics help to reduce that, while also allowing for growing foods on less land acreage.
Based on modern day technology, we are basically introducing smart agriculture practice. And this is a way in which we can conserve, especially on water. In an aquaponic system, we are using 90% less water to grow a crop than we would use in regular outfield. And we are also harvesting crop much earlier. In addition, we increase the stocking density over the different areas. So we basically are getting better yield, faster time, and we're using less water, so it's more efficient. We just want you to understand that there are three organisms that work in order to get the miracle of this system. The fish, the bacteria that are going to convert in the waste from the fish, and the plant, which is the vegetable, which is going to produce food for us. So it is a system that you can adopt for urban area or for commercial system, and it worked just magical for all operators.
Can we get any more creative than this? Yes, we can. Youth farmer and student Denicia Garden demonstrates how anyone can use vermin composting to be environmentally responsible.
So this is something simple. You can start this by using simple things, everyday materials that you have within your backyard or within your household. So you can just use your regular waste. We're showcasing the vermicomposting, and that is done with the use of the California red worms. So these are earthworms that we use to break down organic waste into nutrient-rich solutions. For our vermicomposting that we have here, you'll see that we just use feces from our farm, from our small ruminants farm, and we use waste grass. So that's all we use. So this is something that we're supposed to think about doing because it is environmentally sustainable and eco-friendly. So it doesn't affect the environment in a negative way, and it decreases the greenhouse gas emissions within the air. So it is very eco-friendly.
Climate-smart agricultural practices boost farmers' livelihoods and open new economic avenues for them and the country. Being inventive and applying these practices not only enhance climate resilience and reduce pollution and other environmental hazards, but also increase productivity.
Hey boy, move out of my way, man. May I go get my lunch before you, Both of them at the front of the line.
Yes, there are times when other students will try to get you out of your peaceful state. They will say something that will trigger you. They will cut in front of the line at lunch or wherever you are, and that will get you upset. But remember, you have control over your reaction to what happens to you. You have no control over what other people will do. Peace Day in schools must act as a conduit to inspire young people to become the driving force behind the vision for a united and sustainable Jamaica. Teaching our children about peace isn't just talking about war and conflict. Peace is about kindness, fairness, inner peace, respect for the environment, and so much more. Thoughts, words, gestures of unanimity create a mentality and a culture of peace and a respectful, honest, and cordial atmosphere. No place more that we'd like to see peace than in our schools.
People dying, if we care enough for living, make a better place for you and for me.
Investing in agriculture can contribute to environmental sustainability by promoting sustainable farming practices and reducing food waste. So, put your money where your crop is.
Agriculture is an important economic sector, and investing in it may be a wise financial move that gives investors the chance to diversify their portfolios and earn significant returns. So, if you're looking for investment opportunities, why not consider agriculture?
Jamaica has about 200,000 hectares of land that we consider arable, meaning land that we can farm. We only need to farm about 100,000 of that in order to produce sufficiently all the staples that we need, all the protein that we need, all the vegetables and fruits that we need. Of that 200,000 arable land that we have, currently we are only farming about 31,000 hectares that is irrigated. So the provision of reliable irrigation, water, to those acreages is a big challenge. So we have about 15% of our total arable land irrigated. So if we're serious about expanding agricultural output, investments have to be made in agricultural infrastructure, particularly irrigation. So I'm pleased to say today that we have the Essex Valley and the Southern Plains irrigation projects, which are ongoing. And those two projects will bring about 5,200 hectares of land under irrigation. That will move us up to about 18% of our arable land irrigated.
We're introducing a major project that's coming for Jamaica. It's called the Southern Plain Agricultural Development Project. It involves over 2,000 acres of land that will be available to investors across a wide range of crops. We are actually looking to get more Jamaicans involved into agriculture. Food security is very important, and we're also trying to build our export markets as well. We're seeking investors both locally and overseas to enter into current agricultural production and even larger scale production. We have acreages starting from 5 acres up to as high as 300 acres that we're packaging to have investors engage in a wide range of crops, vegetables, root crops, and orchard crops. A good way to start is reaching out to AgroInvest, whether you reach out on our website. That's a great way to connect with us. From there, we can help you to build a plan around the ideas that you have for getting involved in agriculture. We have a team involved in business development. We have technical persons who are in charge of the agri-parks. And we have a market development team which will be rolling out shortly to provide linkages with persons on the agri-park, with buyers locally and in the export markets. Already we have the agri-parks. The major ones in that area are Amity Hall, Spring Plain, and Ebony Park. This development comprises what we call Ebony 2, which is going to be in St. Catherine, and that will be next to Bridgepen, and there will be Parnassus in Clarendon.
The next one is going to be the Pedro Plains, and that is going to move us steadily towards our goal of irrigating our arable lands.
AgroInvest is making a strong thrust to attract investors to the agriculture sector. And so we're ready to engage persons. We can connect you with financing, we can help you with business planning, and we can help you with technical support to grow your investment in agriculture in Jamaica.
It is proven that agricultural investment is 3 times more effective in increasing the income of the poor. So, invest in agriculture today and make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business.
We need all Jamaicans to know that child abuse is not just an issue for the government, it's an issue for all Jamaicans. So we need everybody to help us to protect our children. If you know of a child who is being victimized, a child who is abused or neglected, just make that report so we can get that child the help they need. Calling or reporting is easy. All you have to do is remember to call 211. If you are an adult, if you're a child, if you are in church, in your community group, wherever you are, once you are aware there's a child who is in need of care and protection, just be the one and call 211.
I like to shop, but when it comes to back to school supplies, I get stressed. If you're like me, our next feature will bring you some relief.
Generally finding enough money to buy everything that the kids need. That's the biggest challenge, because the book list these days are long.
Getting the right thing at the right price. But to back to school, I'm kind of raise the price. That's the thing right now.
High price are one of the main problems, and sometimes the book is too long.
Communications specialist at the Consumer Affairs Commission, CAC, Dorothy Campbell, has a wealth of knowledge on this matter. And so we put the question to her. What's the most important thing parents can do when seeking to shop for back to school on a budget?
What we've asked them to do is to plan ahead. So you plan by collecting the list from the schools of exactly what is required. You plan your transportation route if you're driving, if you're taking the bus. And you also plan how much you have to spend. So you use that list to prioritize what are the needs, what are the wants, what are the must-haves for the first couple of weeks at school. And then from then you determine what is the total cost and how much you have to spend.
Okay, so plan and prioritize. But how do parents even go about deciding the needs from the wants?
The CAC recommends that the parents divide the needs. So you'll have the needs that are, say, uniforms, school shoes, bags, that kind of thing. But you also have some needs prior to getting into school, which are medical examinations, eye tests, because your child might need glasses. You know, some of those things that you might have to do prior to going into back to school shopping. And then you determine what is the best option. Do you need to buy a new pair of school shoes the first month or the first 6 weeks of school? But I think what parents are going to focus mostly on is getting the kids ready in terms of their books. So those are some of the things that we say, try and go get those books first and then determine whether you'll need newer items like shoes and socks and belts and epaulets and ties and so on. But those are necessary if it's a new school. But if it's a repeat, if you're going back to your old school, you just need to top up. Maybe a new uniform, or repair the shoes or something like that.
A good reminder that not everything needs to be new. Perhaps one of the most painstaking challenges for back to school is dealing with the matter of textbook shopping.
When you go in, you expect to find something at one price, but you go to another store and you see it at a totally different price, and so people may feel a bit of remorse saying they pay so much here when they could have get it cheaper somewhere else.
Well, there's no need for remorse if parents and other consumers make use of the wonderful and effective tools available to them at the CAC.
The biggest thing on our brag list is our annual textbook survey, and we've been doing it for 20 years. So the research unit is, they're really efficient at this. So that's what we do every year, and we use that to help consumers to go to the website for those who have access, and or call the CAC to get information about where the books are available, what is the average price for those books, and so on.
In addition to the survey, there is also a price comparison tool.
The price comparison tool is available on our website, and you can go in, select the items, fill your basket based on what you have to spend, and determine exactly whether you want to get your science books from this particular store because the prices are low.
In addition to all of that, a tried and true tested way of cutting costs is getting used books. Many schools, churches, and other organizations often undertake book drives that you could look into.
So you can get some of those books at reduced prices.
And don't be afraid to ask around.
Ask your friends, where did you get the khaki uniforms? Where did you get the shoes? Where did you get, these supplies? And you compare those prices, the stores that are either closer to home or closer to your office or your job.
Any other advice, any other tips that you want to share?
Don't get overwhelmed by the book list or by the requirements. Just try to prepare that child for the first 2 weeks of school. Just think about the first 2 weeks of school and get him ready.
So you heard you can get your back to school necessities but still stay within budget.
Read a book, magazine, newspaper. Read a book right now or later. Read a book for the higher education. Read a book, oh what a sensation. Read a book, magazine, newspaper. Read a book right now or later. Read a book for the higher education. Read a book, oh what a sensation. Read a book.
While new uniforms or a set of school supplies will surely help to get you off to a good start as you prepare to return to the classrooms, a fresh perspective can also work wonders. So here are some tips that can get your head in the game and help you to make this your year. 1. Establish a specific time each day to wake up, get dressed, and have breakfast. 2. Attend all your classes and activities during the day as scheduled. 3. Aim to avoid overloading yourself, and if there are any issues, talk to your teachers. 4. Set aside time each evening to focus on your assignments, projects, or exam preparations. And finally, establish a specific bedtime to make sure you receive enough sleep every night. We've reached the end of our program. Get a recap of everything you saw here and more on our website, jis.gov.jm. And remember, labor for learning before you grow old, for learning is better than silver and gold. Silver and gold will vanish away, but a good education will never decay. I'm Audrey Williams. Bye for now.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.